Let's get into this next game right quick. Y'all did a good job. William Steinitz played the move e4. Let's see how they played in the 1800s, all right? After e4, e5, knight to f3, attacking upon on e5, and then we got the moves knight to c6, and then after knight to c6, bishop b5 initiates the Roy Lopez, like we went over before. After bishop to b5 in this position, we have the move knight to f6, and we haven't went over this position before. This is new. These last two games we went over knight to e7, to g6, we went over g6. That's like a modern type of way to play with the black pieces. And now we're going over knight to f6. If they can't wait for you to get water, they're not worth the effort you put in. Hey, okay. Pivori. Yep. This is the Berlin defense. But this is a exciting version of the Berlin defense. Hey, Cap, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. All right. So after knight to f6, in this position, what do you think was played next by the white pieces? Castle kingside. Not castle kingside. We all need to stay hydrated for real, for real. For real, for real. Surprisingly not c3. I know, Ron. Surprisingly not c3, surprisingly not castle kingside, which is the main line. But this is pretty much like a solid move that you can play in the Roy Lopez that I love playing when I was playing the Roy Lopez too, which is just doing d3. Most people don't do the move d3. d3 is very solid. You can play like a good game, especially if you're playing like a blitz game. d3, very solid. I would recommend it. After, he's like, bruh. After the move d3, d6 in this position, and now we got the move c3. You know what I mean? Just a delayed c3. This was back, hey, remember, this was back in the 1800s. I'm going to say this again and again and again. You usually do not take opening theory advice from people back in the 1800s and 1900s because it was before chess engines. Usually take your opening theory advice from games past 2000, at least past 2000. Because most people don't even play like this anymore. But, you know, I'm giving you the confirmation that d3 is actually a pretty solid move that you can play here. These are GM. Yeah, do you not know who William Steinitz is? He did? William Steinitz was the first official world chess champion. William Steinitz was the first official world chess champion. Yes, he played this. After c3 in this position, we got the move of g6. After g6, and now we got a quick knight b to d2. After knight b to d2, bishop to g7, and then what do you think was played next here? The Steinitz defense. Ain't no way. I don't know. I don't know if he was German or not. He was Australian. I don't know too much about the. I just know that he was the first official world chess champion, and I know that Paul Morphy was the first unofficial world chess champion. Castle kingside. Okay. Same as last time. I guess so with the move g6. I get it, but it started with the move knight to f6. Give me a break. And so h3. No, they didn't do the move h3. Not here. But they played a little bit differently, which can actually still be played. This is actually a balanced game, which William Steinitz played knight to f1. If you want to trick your opponent up, just make sure that this is a playable opening, and then just play these old moves that is not played before. And actually, this position is completely equal for white and black. If there was an engine and stuff, he would go crazy. Yeah. Definitely the past grandmasters would go crazy if there was an engine back then. Definitely Bobby Fischer probably would have reached above 3,000. And so after knight to f1, kingside castle, and then William Steinitz did the move of bishop to a4. After bishop to a4, oh crap, we went all the way to the beginning. After bishop to a4, knight f, not knight f, but knight to d7, and then we got what move next here? By white. What would you say? And we're almost to 180 followers. So if y'all want to be the last person to get to 180, hey, be my guest. That would be awesome. TP, you are correct. Knight to e3 was the next move that was played here. Because usually when you go knight to f1, and the only way to castle is to move this knight on f1. So it's either going to be g3 or e3. And so after knight to e3, knight to c5 in this position, attacking our bishop on a4. But what do we do next? What do we do next with the white pieces? As William Steinitz, we're the first world champion. Hey, 7EG. 7E. It's kind of like Neji. 7EG. Thank you. I appreciate it. It took me a while to say your name, but you know, hopefully you don't like take it back. But thank you. I appreciate you. Everybody's saying to move bishop to c2, which is correct. Because usually that's your Rory Lopez bishop. You don't just give away your Rory Lopez bishop just for any piece. And so after bishop to c2, the knight moved to e6, and then now we got some kind of modern techniques that's going to go on here next. What do you think William Steinitz did? And back in the 1800s, back in the 1900s, most of those grandmasters or chess players were very aggressive, like really aggressive. They didn't know about like the consequences of doing moves. So this next move might be a trip for y'all to see, even back then. Now, the only difference between doing this move back then than this move nowadays is that nowadays it was more prepared. All right, Steinitz was Austrian, not Australian. Oh, okay. People in the 1800s don't like to castle. Yeah, well, they don't like the castle. Well, they do like the castle, but it has to be legitimate. It has to be with like an extra attack. If y'all see Paul Morphy games, but William Steinitz, he did an exciting move here, which by the chess engine, it might be kind of ugly. It might be like an exclamation mark, question mark. But on human standards, if you're not looking at the chess engine, it's like, oh snap, a world champion is trying to attack me right now. So what is White's next move in this position? What would you say? I have no clue. Come on. D4. Not D4. I'm saying that he's trying to attack the king side. He's trying to attack the king side, guys. I'm waiting. I'm going to give y'all 1 minute. Yeah, if you guess this move, then hey, you're an 1800 type of player. You're an 1800 type of chess player. Oh, okay. Because, yep, you are right, Ron. You know, if all else fails, use Hector. H4 was played here. H4 was played. Now, a good tip just to tell y'all, usually you push up the H pawn. The H pawn is really good at tearing up the Fian Kettle side, and usually you push up the H pawn to kind of hit the G6 pawn, create some weaknesses in the future, etc. And so after the move H4 that happened here, which is kind of crazy, but the opponent really messed up with moved the knight like several different times, knight back to E7. After knight to E7, what happens next here in this position? TP, yep, you are correct. He pushed to H5 because he's a G. You know, this was a game back in the 1800s. William Steinitz, you know, he's like feeling himself right now. You know what I mean? And he's like wiping the dust off his shoulders. And he did the move H5 because he wants to attack his opponent, get the game over with. And then Black was like D5. Oh, you was talking about Black? No, he didn't do H5. He did not stop the H5 push. And so after doing the move D5, because usually when somebody attack on the flank, you want to open up the center. That's like one of the principles that you have to keep in mind. Kaden, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. After D5, William Steinitz did not care what was going on in the center, and that's why he just did the move H takes on G6. And now this whole rook on the H file is open up for a attack. And so after the move H takes on G6, we got the move F takes on G6. E takes on D5, and then after E takes on D5, Knight takes on D5. And I got a question for everybody here right now. Do we trade knights? Do we trade knights on D5, or do we do a better move? Do we do something else? What do you think they did back in the 1800s? In this game, surprisingly enough, this position is completely busted for the black pieces. Surprisingly enough. You sure do. Yep, TP, you are correct. We are trading knights. Knight takes on D5. Queen takes on d5. And yes, like I said before, this position is lost for black. But what would you do here? How would you keep the pressure up? How would you keep the forcing moves going? Knight e5, attacking the pawn king side. Queen and open and queen diagonal. What? You're gonna have to like resend that question. It kind of confused me. Yep. TP, you are correct. Bishop b3. Looking at your forcing moves. And now, not only is this bishop attacking the queen on d5, but it is x-raying that king on the g8 square, on that a2 to g8 diagonal. And so after that queen moves to like a better square, going to queen to c6, you might think, okay, William Steinitz is done attacking the king, all right? He's done. He's an old man, you know. He's a world champion. He's not trying to take that many risks against his opponent. But it started getting a little bit questionable, especially after the move queen e2. Like, if he was castling king side, why would he do the move queen to e2? And then after queen to e2, bishop to d7, and then he did the move bishop to e3, which is like, okay, what? No, he's not. No, he's not going to do that. After bishop to e3, king h8, what was his next move? What do you think? What was his next move? Because William Steinitz was not playing. Yes. That's it right there. Queen side castling. Epic. And now you realize, okay, this position might just be over for the black pieces. After realizing that your opponent is queenside castling against you, after they just open up the H file, because if you're pushing up the H pawn, why would you castle kingside and you're rid of the attack when you can just castle on the queen side? Your opponent's pieces are looking really stupid right now. If you look at this bishop on d7, you might as well call that another pawn, and that knight on e6, it doesn't really have any good squares to go to attack the queenside king. So that's why the king moved to the queen side. After queenside castling, rook a to e8, and then we have the move queen f1. After queen f1, a5, getting ready to do a4, attacking the bishop on b3, and then we have what move next here for the white pieces. What would you do here? Now I believe his idea is to double up on the rook, double up the rooks. I don't know, we'll see. What did William Steinitz do here next? What would y'all say? Hey, are you looking at the game? I'm watching you. We're gonna get somebody else since you answered too many questions. That's what happens, all right? When you get like 5 in a row, I'm gonna have to get somebody else. I'm talking to a certain someone. Pivori, you are correct. We got the next move, d4. After d4 in this position, right? Okay, you might not be. My bad. I've been doing the streaming stuff for like the past 4 months now, so hey, it's kind of questionable if you get like 10 moves correct in a row. And so after the move d4, controlling the center, opening up the center, getting ready for the move d5 to fork the queen and the knight on e6, and getting the pieces developed, we got the move pawn takes on d4. After pawn takes on d4, knight takes on d4, and then black did this really silly move, but this was back in the 1800s, but he gave away his fianchetto bishop, doing the move bishop takes on d4. After bishop takes on d4, what are we doing next here? It's from 1584, where would even find it? You can find it. That question surprises me, but when I started streaming on TikTok, I was like, they find it. Are you familiar with the Landon opening? Nope, I'm not. I'm gonna have to look it up and then be like, oh, I remember that pattern. Got Limitless in the building too. Wow, Limitless. Good job. You made me laugh. Okay, bishop takes on d4, pivot, bishop takes on d4, bishop h6. Bishop to h6. Okay, wait a minute. Let's think about this, right? It's not bishop takes on d4. It's not that move. Because there's a better move if we're going to take advantage of this mistake that black has done. Because they gave away their fianchetto kettle bishop. Oh, TP, don't be like that. You're right, man. Not pivot, not rook takes on h7, but then we are sacrificing the rook. Rook takes on d4. Why rook takes on d4? Because once you realize why rook takes on d4 is the best move ever, because if the knight recaptures back, which that is what happens here, knight takes on d4, what happens next in this position? Remember, we were drawn last week until the past 30 seconds. Yeah, rook takes on d4 was correct. You get check on h8. What is the next move here? Okay, so a lot of people saying bishop takes on d4, bishop takes on d4. He is taking the same bishop takes on d4. What if I told you, and we got Mr. Savage in here. Hey, how you doing? Thank you for the follow. What if I told you that it's not bishop takes on d4 and 7 EG and pivot and TP already got this? Rook takes on h7 first. Why so? Because after rook takes on h7, king takes on h7, which everybody's already getting this. The king is very vulnerable at this spot right now. The king is being attacked. You wouldn't have thought that I was going to go from the center and then start attacking the king. What is the next best move here? How would you end this? How would you finish this in this chess position? What would you do? Nugrol, you are correct. At TP, you're correct. 7G, you are correct too. Queen to H1, controlling the whole H file for the white pieces. And after the king is being checked on H7, they're not gonna do a silly move like bishop to H3, or they're not. King G7. After King G7, what happens next? And what if I told you after King G7, this is checkmate in 3? And this all came from queenside castling, pushing up the H-pawn, doing a move like D4, opening up the center, and we're checkmating with our 2 bishops and our queen. How do we continue? How do we continue? There's only 2 moves that is correct. And bishop takes on D4 isn't one of them. Because after bishop takes on D4, rook can defend on F6, and I don't know what's the follow-up after that. We got to be careful, all right? We got to make sure, if we're calculating, we got to make sure that there is a concrete checkmate at the end of the line. If there's not, then with your hints, it's hard to get the wrong answers. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to guide you on the way to get the right answers. I just do the best that I can. And queen to h6, pivot is actually one of the moves that goes into checkmate in 3. But there's another move that William Steinitz did that is kind of creative and just makes the game a lot more beautiful. I'm not ever gonna lie. And I don't use words like beautiful, pretty a lot, but this checkmate is pretty awesome. It's heat. It would make me want to like punch my opponent. It's that heat. If I was playing the black pieces, I would have. No, I'm just playing. Do not do that. That was only for entertainment purposes. People, yep. Bishop to h6, checking the king. And we're gonna have to go through this right quick. After bishop to h6, checking the king. If king moved to h7, what is checkmate in 2? And this isn't the move that our opponent did here. What is checkmate in 2 after the king goes to h7? Yep, TP, pivot, you are correct, because after bishop takes on f8, and then the last move that black can do, bishop to h3, queen takes on h3, and this is checkmate because of this awesome bishop on this b3 square that is taking care of this a2 to g8 diagonal, and this bishop on f8 that is taking care of this diagonal, and this queen that is checking the king, and that is taking care of the h file. And so this is checkmate on the board, and that's why black didn't do this at all. But he ran into another checkmate pattern. After bishop to h6, king to f6, what is the next move that white does here? Hey, Mr. Savage, man. What's good, man? Welcome here from the other platform. I remember you. Can viewers Vince's you? Not this stream, not today. We're just doing chess lessons. And we actually have time for one more game that we can go over before I head out. Sorry for being late. I had my Discord notifications, do not disturb. It's fine. It's all good, man. We're chilling. We're chilling. Ron, you are correct. Queen. Oh, wait a minute. The queen was supposed to be. Wait a minute. This bitch was supposed to be back here. Yeah, queen h4 was the best move in this position, though. My bad. But the queen. Yeah, the bitch is supposed to be back there. Hey, Chessman Rez. Hey. Welcome. So after queen h4, king e5, checkmate in 1. And this is a fascinating position. This is a fascinating checkmate in the center of the board. Wait a minute. No, it's not checkmate in 1. My bad. It's checkmate in 2, but it was about to be, you understand me. It's checkmate in 2, though. No, it's not bishop g7 because king can still go to f5. But it confused me because he resigned actually after this next move. Yeah, Chessman Rez, you are correct, but it's not checkmate. That's my fault. I confused everybody because after queen takes on d4, black resigned, and then what's checkmate after king to f5? What's checkmate after king to f5? And we're playing the white side here because we're going over the Rory Lopez games. Steveable, thank you for following. What's the next move here in this position? And he actually resigned before this. William Steinitz was the first official world chess champion, and it's because of this move. Chessman Riz, you are correct. Queen to f4. Checkmate. Beautiful. Like, if I was playing the black pieces right now, I would get something like this and just look. Because this is awesome. Like, I would be mad. This would make me mad for like a whole week. I would just start studying for like the whole next week so that I can come back to the board and redeem myself. This is that type of position here. And notice how he sacrificed both of his rooks for this awesome checkmate with both of his bishops on b3 and h6. And so that's how powerful the bishops can be. And you can play like this. You can play like this if you're playing the Rory Lopez. Don't cut yourself short. And so that's why, hey, the Rory Lopez doesn't have to be a boring opening. This was in the Berlin defense, this type of attack. You know, all you got to do is just push up the H-pawn, castle queenside. And look at this video again if you want, like, if you wasn't here in the beginning. Because this was an awesome way to play the Rory Lopez and to defeat your opponent, put the added pressure on them. I played the Rory. Hey, you played the Rory. Look, see? This whole video is devoted to the Rory Lopez. Why not pawn checkmate? Oh, I guess the pawn checkmate could have happened. Dang, that was such a lost opportunity. Dang, G4 could have happened. Pawn checkmates are so disrespectful. He should have did that first. Never mind. This wasn't a beautiful game. He could have did G4, all right? Just going back on everything that I just said.